You've got Hugh Evelyn White. He was an archaeologist that was part of the initial team. He obviously visited the tomb and helped excavate the site. After seeing a bunch of other people die, he actually killed himself. And he hung himself, committed suicide. But before he did, he wrote in his own blood, allegedly, that he had succumbed to a curse which forced him to disappear.
Ooh, what does that look like, you think? What does that look like in your brain? Like you succumb to a curse.
Well, he clearly had to kill himself.
I know, that's so
what it felt.
strange, though. It's got to be like a schizophrenic type thing, right?
I mean, yeah.
Voices
possible.
in your head?
Yeah. Another Egyptologist that was associated with the dig or had visited the site named Aaron Ember. He was present, actually, when the tomb was open. He died in 1926, so 4 years after, when his house burned down, shortly after a dinner party. And he actually got out safely, but then his wife encouraged him to go back in and save a manuscript that he had been working on. And he didn't make it out. The name of the manuscript that he was working on was called The Egyptian Book of the Dead.
Did you read it?
I did not read it.
I don't think anybody's read it.
I mean, somebody's read it.
Do you believe in these curses? I mean, do you believe in curses overall? It doesn't have to be the mummy curse, I guess. Do you believe in any curses?
I can't think of any curses I believe in now. I mean, I guess before we did this episode, I had heard a lot about the Pharaoh's curse and the curse of King Tut's tomb, and I guess just in my brain there was more to it than there actually was. Like, I mean, I'm reading some of I'm giving you some of the interesting deaths. I think there's a lot of these deaths that are so allegedly because of the curse, and like I said, they're like 30 or 40 years later. It's like that. I don't see how you can draw those two things as together.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't understand how a curse would even work. So I can't. I don't believe any of these curses. I think they're all sort of natural causes or just weird coincidences after you do something.
Another one that I thought was interesting. This guy named Sir Archibald Douglas Reed. He was a radiologist, and all he did, he didn't go anywhere near the tomb, but he just X-rayed Tut. And basically before he went to a museum, and the day after he X-rayed him, he got sick and he died 3 days later.
I don't know. I feel like there's plenty of reasons people die regardless of after they take. Was it an X-ray you said?
Yeah, he did an X-ray. He was a radiologist.
That's bullshit. I mean, come on.
It's a curse, man. It's
It's not a curse. Explain to me, Adam, how a curse would work.
So I don't think it was a curse. So I mean, I think the people that went in the tomb and died shortly after, to me, it's just that body had been in there for 3,000 years.
Yeah.
Dead bodies have all kinds of nasty shit, diseases and stuff on them.
Not only that, it's like hermetically sealed in there. So whatever germs existed back then are probably still in there, or dust mites or whatever. So it's like asbestos, basically. You're just going in there and going, and then you're sucking up everything, and then your fucking liver and lungs just break.
I mean, there's lots of reasons why that you can explain away this stuff.
Yeah.
It's not a curse. I mean, it's a nice story, but I think it's attributed to how the mummy has become a kind of a fixture in popular culture. But interestingly, the main guy that was like entered the tomb first, Howard Carter.
Yeah.
Do you know how he died?
No, but I believe he died years after, right?
Yes.
I mean, it wasn't.
He died of lymphoma at the age of 64. So he was like 20, 30 years later. He had the first guy in the tomb, the first guy to disturb King Tut. He lived to. I mean, he died of lymphoma at 64, which I guess isn't terribly old, but not like he didn't die the next day or anything like that.
Well, in the 20s, though, I mean, we're talking about, I mean, by then time it was probably the 40s, but still, I mean, 64 during that time frame is a long time, especially if you're going into tombs that are 3,000 years old and sucking in a bunch of nonsense. So good for that guy for living that long. And yeah, you're right. I mean, he's the first guy to walk in, first guy to see anything, first guy that would get touched by the curse. And he lives fucking 40 years, probably eats red meat every day, drinks whiskey, smokes cigars, and he lives till 64.
Yeah, exactly. So if there was a curse, that first fucker in there, he would have really gotten it bad. Like, he would have been dead the next fucking day, and it would have been like really nasty, right? I mean,
Yeah. So we actually agree on this, that curses aren't real, or at least mummy curses, right?
definitely mummy curses, yeah, or at least the curse of the pharaohs, yeah.
All right.
A couple of things that I thought were interesting about King Tut. We talked about how the Egyptians typically put the heart back into the body. King Tut, actually, they did not put his heart back in.
Why?
I don't know. And he also had been mummified with an erect penis, which is pretty unique. No heart and a erect penis.
Now, how do you? Let's talk about the logistics of this.
How do you erect a penis with no heart?
Yeah, I was gonna say, is it like stuffed with straw, or is it like an erect penis that they like filled with like embalming fluid?
Yeah, you just like blow it up like a balloon, and just like a water balloon. Pump lots of salt water in there, and just
Okay. Yeah, that's a straight. And there's no explanation for that. Have you seen any like speculation as to why that happens?
I saw something about how they wanted him to be closer to the god Osiris, who was believed to have been the first mummy, or at least the first Egyptian mummy. But I'm not sure how that would connect him to Osiris.
Huh. Weird. I want to die with a big heart on.
All right, so we talked a little bit about Tut, probably the most famous mummy. But, I mean, there's a shitload of other mummies that I think are kind of interesting and frankly, more creepy in some ways.
Yeah, I mean, and they did a great job at marketing King Tut. But some of these other mummies are way more interesting. And quite frankly, I think their stories, even when they lived, are suspected to be way more interesting as well. So I think the marketing teams behind King Tut need to get behind some of these other ones to make them famous as well. I think one of the newest discoveries, one of the really interesting is Otzi or Otzi or Otzi. Do you know that one? Otzi the Iceman?
The Iceman, yeah, I knew. Yeah. I got a little bit on the Iceman. Yeah, he's the oldest well-preserved mummy in Europe, right?
That's correct. Yeah, 3300 BC is when he was from, but he turned up in the Alps in 1991. And I mean, he's still pretty much intact. He wasn't entombed. He wasn't wrapped in anything. He was pretty much just frozen.
Yeah, in a glacier. So he was one of those natural mummies.
Yeah, and they could even his body was so well preserved that they could tell you what his last meal was. Do you want to take a guess at what his last meal was?
How about some like berries?
Ooh, no. I mean, this guy ate like a champ. It was red deer and herb bread.
Ooh.
Yeah. So I mean, he ate well, and they could tell that he died from a blow to the back of the head, and obviously this was very well intact and a very good study of how this man lived during his life. So they were able to derive a lot of information from it. That's not a scary story. I think that's a cool story of being able to pick out what somebody ate as their last meal from 5,000 years ago. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of what these mummies are able to do with the preservation. I mean, it's crazy to think about something kind of lasting, 5,000 years or whatever the number was. That I mean, that's just crazy to think that he didn't decay to really any point. I mean, it's really crazy to think about.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely didn't take a dump. He definitely died after dinner, but before dump time.
Did he have a boner though?
I don't know. They didn't. I mean, he wasn't naturally. I mean, my guess. Now, here's some logic for you, right? So he froze to death. So when you're freezing to death, all your blood goes to your extremities, right? So my guess is maybe he could have died with a boner.
Maybe.
Is that fair logic?
Well, do you consider the penis an extremity?
It sticks out of your body.
But I think
that. I mean, what's the definition of an extremity?
I think the extremities are your toes and your fingers. No.
Well, yeah, but I feel like how much blood can your toes and fingers hold? The other blood has to go somewhere. There's blood running through your whole body. It's going to go to your wiener too. But let's not get too deep into if you freeze, do you die with a boner?
Well, a mummy that definitely didn't have a boner because it was a woman or a girl was the very interesting mummy, Rosalia Lombardo.
Yeah, this is. I mean, it's barely a mummy and almost like a doll, like a puppet. It's creepy.
This is probably the creepiest mummy, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think so too.
So and you'll see why, I guess, after we talk about it and explain. So Rosalia Lombardo is the mummy of a Italian girl who died of pneumonia at the ripe old age of 2. So she's a little fucking kid.
Yeah,
and
bummer.
Basically, her dad was so devastated that she died that he hired this famous embalmer, and he preserved the body. And she's so well preserved that it looks like she's only sleeping. And I mean, the pictures are pretty incredible.
And this was in 1920, so it's not like it was like ancient times.
And we'll put all the pictures of these mummies that we're talking about, because some of them are really, really interesting to look at and creepy as fuck, on our website and social medias and stuff. So check them out.
Do we have a picture of King Tut's boner?
No, I do not.
Okay. All right. Just for everybody that was wondering.
But again, she's so well preserved. It seems like she's sleeping, and she's earned the nickname of Sleeping Beauty. Again, she is like by far the creepiest mummy, because she does look just like it's just insane, like just a little girl sleeping. I mean, that is exactly what she looks like. It's really fucking
I mean,
creepy.
she looks like a doll, or like, you know what she sort of looks like is one of those like statue guys that like stand on the boardwalks and stuff. Like the pictures, like she looks like she's a little like gold covered or something. It's just very strange.
Like
but she's probably
that guy at the Renaissance Festival last week.
Yeah, where they just
Statue
charge
guy?
you $10 to take a picture. Yeah,
One other thing that's extra fucking creepy about her is people that go to see her because she's on display in this Italian like mausoleum or whatever, is this phenomenon in which her eyes appear to open and close several times a day.
Yeah, that's creepy.
It's really fucking creepy. And basically you can see her blue eyes as a result of this, like her still intact blue eyes.
Yeah, that's I wish, like, 1920, that's cool, and she's 2, so I'm glad she's well preserved, and like that's a cool thing for a dad to do, I guess. Also sort of creepy.
It's really
I don't
fucking
know,
creepy.
It's creepy, but you can understand the gesture of being a parent, you know, like you don't know what mindset you would be in, and I guess embalming your daughter, like at least she's not like in his house, like they eat dinner every night, and like, you know what I mean, like that's I guess it's a sweet gesture.
It's like the governor on Walking Dead. Did you ever watch that?
Yeah,
season?
But was his daughter dead?
Yeah, she got turned. Spoiler alert!
Oh,
she got turned into a zombie, and he like kept her.
Yeah, but she was like chained up and stuff, right?
Yeah, like he was like he didn't kill her though. He just kept her around as like a pet because he was. I don't know.
Yeah, that's sort of the same thing.
Yeah, it's similar.
Yeah, that'd be a cool thing to see, I guess. I mean, it's got to be cool to see, but it's also probably very haunting. You know, like walking up on that in a museum or wherever it is.
Oh my god,
it's got to be really super creepy, right?
Super again, because it's a kid. Some of these other ones that we're talking about, you know, they're really well preserved too, and really creepy. But the fucking creepy kid, and especially if she looks like she's opening her fucking eyes. Oh god, no, thank you. We already established last week how much we hate creepy fucking kids.
Yeah, creepy. What about and I don't know how to pronounce this one, but it's creepy to me as well. It's the Mummies of Quilapquitzac. Do you know anything about that one?
Yeah, tell me which ones those are.
So this is a mother and a baby that were likely buried alive and mummified by natural conditions, found, and they say that the baby likely had Down syndrome, and they were probably left to die, and then they died, and then of course were discovered after they were mummified. But the baby, I mean, this is one of those pictures that you have to see. The baby looks fucking creepy. The mom is like a true mummy looking thing, like it's wrapped in like fur and stuff. But the child, like its head is tilted, so it looks like it's sort of like inquisitively looking at you, but it has no eyes.
Oh god,
it's fucking creepy. So I mean, how would you feel if you discovered some of these things, right? Like,
Oh,
I guess if
Jesus.
you're an archaeologist,